That song was written with a person in mind, I'm pretty sure of that. But this morning, I want the you to have a different meaning. The you, we are going to talk about this morning is more of a concept than a person. In fact, it's the concept of death, which I know sounds a little odd, but the concept of death. I want you to hear me out on this, because it sounds pretty strange. This morning, what we are going to do is talk about going from death to divine awakening. From seeing the end to an aliveness greater than ever before. And from what appears to be over to a fresh, heightened, new awareness. This is what "You Raised Me Up" means this morning. This beautiful, beautiful Easter morning. And there is nothing found in the life and teachings of the master teacher, Jesus, more profound, more meaningful, or more holy than the lessons taught and the messages we find in his resurrection. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, verses 1 through 6, we are told, "In the evening of the Sabbath, when the first day of the week began to dawn, there came Mary of Magdala and the other Mary to see the tomb. And behold, a great earthquake took place. For the angel of the Lord came down from heaven and went up and rolled away the stone from the door and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his garments were as white as snow. And for fear of him, the guards who were watching trembled and became as if they were dead. But the angel answered, saying to the women, 'You need not be afraid, for I know that you are seeking the Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, just as he said he would.'" And it is in the last sentence where we find profound, meaningful, and holy lessons for this morning. "You need not be afraid, for I know that you are seeking Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, just as he had said. You need not be afraid. I know you are seeking Jesus who died. But he is not here, for he had a divine awakening. You need not be afraid. I know you are seeking Jesus, who seems to have ended, but really he is more alive than ever before. You need not be afraid. I know you are seeking Jesus, whose life appears to be over, but in fact is experiencing a fresh new beginning. The deep, sweet teaching within the resurrection story, which is very real and pertinent to us here today, more than 2,000 years later. The death is not the end. Rather, it is the beginning in an elevated state. And this is true whether the ending comes in the form of death of the physical body, death of a relationship, death of a job, death of an economic structure, death of an idea, death of a habit, even a death of a dream. Before I go on, I want to be very, very clear. By saying this, I am not minimizing the effect that deaths have on a lot of us from the perspective of our human emotions. there are experiences that cause our hearts to hurt and have great sadness. To different degrees, the loss of a job, a relationship, grief over a dream that we might not have made manifest. And all of that can hurt our hearts. Just as the heart of those who loved Jesus hurt on Friday as they were taking him down from the cross. Someone they loved, a dream that they had, a future had died. And yes, Jesus did die. And with him it seemed the hope and the promise his life brought. And yet 3 days later, on the Sabbath morning, an angel said to the Marys, I know you are seeking Jesus, who was crucified. But he is not here, for he has risen just as he said he would. This shows us in a profound way that death is not an ending, but an opportunity for a divine awakening. In fact, some of the greatest crucifixions have revealed, because we have crucifixions in our lives. We feel like we've been crucified sometimes. But within that, there's a revelation of the possibilities for greater and greater good, greater resurrections. So I want to ask you this morning, what looks like a death in your life right now? A relationship? A job? A loved one? Comes in many forms. And I ask you also right now, what new life will you allow this death to awaken in you? A deeper commitment to love? The fuller expression of your creativity? Deeper integrity in your financial and business affairs? A closer relationship with the God of your being? Only you get to decide and can decide what the resurrection will mean for you in your life. You have the spark of unlimited possibilities within you because the Christ light shines from within you. We talk in Science of Mind and New Thought, which is what this is, about the Christ consciousness. It is that awakened state of pure light that is possible to each and every one of us. And on this holy day, where there's energy, beautiful energy, a conscious energy, a mass energy that we are feeding into, and know that the light of God is the light that shines within us, and everything is possible. You have the right and the responsibility to decide what your divine awakening will be. Ernest Holmes tells us in The Science of Mind, press boldly forward, looking ever for the truth, and ever ascending higher and higher into the heavens of reality. There is no limit to the possibilities inherent in all of us. Let the timid soul put his complete trust in good and press bravely on. So up until now, I have been speaking about deaths that have occurred in our lives. What if we shifted our focus just for a moment and look at Jesus' death and resurrections as a metaphor for the idea that any moment, at any time, we can choose to let an old way of thinking, old behavior, old way of acting die so that we can be the best that we can be. We can step into something brand new that we can create. There's only good that is waiting for us to open up to it. And those blocks of those old stories that we were fed, they no longer serve us. There's a shift in consciousness that is occurring right here and right now. We're a part of it. We are a part of it. So I ask you, how are you going to respond and be proactive? Is there fear in you? What can you let go of? Is there fear in you? And today you could let it die? Is there guilt in you that today you could let it die? Is there shame in you that today you could let go of it? Are there feelings of inadequacy? Internal tapes of I'm not good enough, that's the big one. I'm not good enough. Somewhere along the line, someone said something and we took it that way. It's not the truth. Can we let that be it? Can we bury that and let it go? And just step into that light consciousness. Is there anger in you that you could let go of and die today? Do you have an unsupported or unhealthy habit that you could let go of today? You get to choose on this day. You get to choose. You get to take the message that's being delivered here and use it in your life. It's up to you. All those things can die, and the glory of God that is within you would then be resurrected. And the key point to remember is that it was there all along. Nothing has to be created. It is within us. It's there always. It's always there. So reassuring for myself, and I'm sure for many of you to know. If you choose to let any of those things die and connect a line with that truth of the glory of God within you, all things are possible. And I want to create a new catchphrase this morning. I want us to have Easter moments, okay? An Easter moment is when we consciously let something that does not serve us die. Just let it go. That's an Easter moment, an awakening, so that we can be born anew into a spiritual awareness and a brand new consciousness and an expanded way of revealing the spiritual nature that is ours. We are these spiritual beings, and we always will be. We always have been. Modern New Thought author Jean Houston, I know many of us have read, wrote this: "It is no longer possible for us to live as pale, diminished versions of ourselves. We really are here by divine appointment. We really are here for a sacred purpose. Our lives are really meant to be used for something beautiful and holy." And the question is, do you believe that? Because I can't make it true for you. You can't make it true for me. It's an inside job. We do it ourselves. Dr. Michael Beckwith said, "We are here to unfold a cosmic destiny, not just make little bubbles and waves." I love that. We have before us a cosmic destiny. Wonderful. From an evolutionary standpoint, our current, and I think most of you would agree to this, our current economic structures just can't hold the evolution that is bursting forth. Chaos is a step in the process of the higher version to come through. And for the newer to come through, the older must die. So the older way that we have been programmed to view and do things has to be let go of. Just changing the song or adding that song this morning. I mean, a few people, I got tapped on the shoulder, and a few people were like, "You gotta go up now, you gotta go up now." It's change. You see, something as small as that. We are so trainable as humans. Look at the pandemic. We didn't go anywhere. I did, but a lot of people didn't go anywhere, and they, wore masks constantly, and that's all good and well, but how easily we are programmed. How easily. Well, chaos is a step in the process of a higher version that needs to come forth. So we welcome the chaos. It might not feel pleasant, but we welcome the chaos of is a reordering. It's a reordering, a restructuring for a higher level. Remember, the next higher level of functioning already exists. We don't know that because it exists within us. It exists within this divine energy, and it's seeking expression, and it can only express through us. That's how God expresses, through us, as us. The pressure we feel is a higher order pushing forth. It will instruct you when you are open to that knowing. You will receive divine direction just by asking and being open for it. The divine is holding the pattern for the greater expansion of you. The blueprint is already in place. So let me illustrate that idea with a little story, a true story. A New Thought minister was standing at the back of the church greeting people as they left one morning. "Good morning," she said to this little boy who was waiting in line to see her after church. "I've been waiting to tell you something that happened to me," he said. "Wonderful," she said. "Ever since I was little, I always wanted to be a bunny rabbit. I always wished I were furry and free to hop and run all over the place. I wished and I wished, but I finally gave up because my wish was never going to happen. I could not be a rabbit. Then, last week," he tells her, "a miracle happened." "Really?" she chuckled, imagining that somebody gave him a baby rabbit. "Yes," he said with his eyes really wide open in wonder. "After all this time of wishing, one night I had a dream, and in my dream I was a bunny rabbit. And I felt like I was all furry and free and to run and hop and play. It was so wonderful that I finally got my wish." "That's wonderful," she exclaimed. "But that's not all," he said excitedly. "During my dream, God showed me how wonderful it is to be a bunny rabbit. And when I woke up, I realized the feeling that I wanted to feel in being a bunny rabbit was already inside of me. I've been carrying what I wished for inside of me all along." His eyes were filled with recognition, and hers were filled with tears of appreciation of this newly found inner splendor that this little boy was feeling. "Thank you for sharing your wonderful story with me," she managed to get out. "I just thought you would like to know," he said as he smiled and went off with his mother into the crowd. "What inner bunny rabbit are you containing? What are you holding back?" "Yeah, gonna have a talk with my inner bunny rabbit later on." "Ha! To play, to be joy, to express life in great joy. All those qualities are already present, but sometimes we don't recognize them." Ernest Holmes tells us, in The Science of Mind, page 387, "The spiral of life is upward." I love this. "Evolution carries us forward, not backward. Eternal and progressive expansion is its law, and there are no breaks in its continuity. It seems to me that our evolution is the result of an unfolding consciousness of that which already is and needs to be realized to become a fact of everyday life. Easter reminds us of how dark it may get. And sometimes in life, it feels pretty dark. Big but, God always turns night into light. The divine always turns a no way into a new way. Spirit is always triumphant, and everything is made new. The Easter story assures us the way out of seeming loss, there is always renewal. Always renewal. And in fact, an awakened life. So I'd like to end this talk with this reading from Michael Pollan in Second Nature. A garden that never died eventually would be weary, robbed of springtime, unacquainted with the extraordinary perfume that rises from the soil after it has had its rest. The busy winter doesn't visit a dull place. The return every spring of earth's first freshness would never be kept if not for the frosts, the rot, and the ripe deaths of fall. And so when I go out from the garden for the last time in autumn, I always leave the gate open behind me. So are we leaving the gate open? Are we opening metaphorically? Are we opening ourselves to the greater good that is right here, right now, within each of us? I invite each one to enjoy your Easter moments and celebrate the Christ consciousness that ignites the inner flame of your new awakened heart and new awakened life, all of it. So I let it be, and I say Happy Easter to everyone, and so it is.
Did I do it? I should have had my glasses.
All right. It helped. That was me. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And as you gather your